Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So before we begin, I'd like to bring in my spiritual master, His Holiness Prahladananda Swami. He gave some tips how we can effectively study and read Srila Prabhupada's books. He offered this as a Vyas Puja offering some years ago. And there are just basically 3 points. So the first point is just to have a proper mood, mood of awe and reverence, inquisitiveness, humility. That's, different prayerfulness, just to have that proper mood. And number 2 is imagination. What does this mean? Srila Prabhupada describes in the Krishna book how one can make a deity of different substances. Does anybody remember what are the different substances you can make a deity of? This is in Krishna, the gopis' story of their praying to goddess Katyayani. So what's the, who can say?
Sand.
Sand. What else?
Wood.
Wood. Okay. Anything else? A few different items are given. Stone. Well, one item that's very interesting, Srila Prabhupada says, imagination. You can make a deity out of your imagination. And there's the funny pastimes of Vishnujan Swami, and I think Prahladananda Swami was there also at this time, when sometimes they would get arrested for distributing books in places like Texas. And they would do manasa puja. They would do puja in their mind, but they wouldn't just do it in their mind. They would act it out and would cause the police to think, these guys are crazier than I thought they were. So they're, in the jail cell going, offering each other manasa puja prasad and going through all the morning rituals, all in their mind, but also physically enacting all these pastimes out. So when you read, you should use this element of imagination and picture in your mind the different visual elements that you're reading. Number 3 is self-recitation. If the spiritual master says, please bring me a glass of water, and you come back with a pineapple, what does that mean? It means you have not heard him. So the indication of hearing is remembering. And so with that in mind, we will read these verses. Since we're going to read several verses, I'm not going to do the Sanskrit. Maybe I'll do the last verse. So everyone, pay close attention, and we'll read on. Text number 14. As the vibrations resounding from mridangas, bheris, kettle drums, conch shells, and golmukhas filled the sky in all directions, Lord Krishna set out on his journey. He was accompanied by his chief officers of the corps of chariots, elephants, infantry, cavalry, surrounded on all sides by his fierce personal guard. Now, without looking at the book, can someone say, what did I just read? Something. It's a bit of an exercise to actively listen. Oftentimes, as my spiritual master would say, we feel like, oh, I'm a good person. My eyes are open. I'm sitting here. Isn't that good enough? I didn't know I had to actually pay attention. And it can be a little bit of a shock how much we miss. So I'll read it one more time. As the vibrations resounding from the mridangas, berries, kettle drums, conch shells, and golmukhas filled the sky in all directions, Lord Krishna set out on his journey, which was accompanied by the chief officers of his corps, of chariots, elephant, infantry, cavalry, surrounded on all sides by his fierce personal guard. Okay, once again, not looking at the book, please share, somebody share an element of what was in the verse. Go for it. Just unmute yourself. Except for Jeffrey, he's driving.
Krishna set out on his chariot with all kinds of instrumental glorification, and then he was surrounded by his personal guards.
Nice. Any remembrance of what kind of instruments? Of one or two of the instruments, or three?
Kettle drum.
Kettle drum, yes. And were the personal guards, were they kind of looking a little lackadaisical, or how are they described as?
Fierce.
And any other instruments, like instruments you might find, things that you might find in the temple room?
Mridanga and kartals.
There was mridanga and there was conch shell mentioned. Nice. Okay. As the vibrations resounding from mridangas, berries, kettle drums, conch shells, gomukhas filled the sky in all directions, Lord Krishna set out on his journey, accompanied by his chief officers, his corps of chariots, elephants, infantry, cavalry, and surrounded by all sides by his fierce personal guard. So you can close your eyes and kind of just picture the scene. The elephants are there, the infantry are there, the cavalry are there. It is a massive retinue. There's fierce personal guards. Now, there's more to be listed. There's more that is there. There's Lord Achyuta's, text number 15, Lord Achyuta's faithful wives, along with their children, follow the Lord on golden palanquins carried by powerful men. The queens were adorned with fine clothing, ornaments, fragrant oils, and flower garlands, and they were surrounded on all sides by soldiers carrying swords and shields in their hands. So anything to share there?
Such an opulent procession.
What things can you remember from that 15th verse?
Beautiful.
What family members are being mentioned?
Wives, the children. Yeah, so opulent.
How are the palanquins? Are they golden? There we go, golden. And the queens, any descriptions of the queens? What were they, things that they were wearing?
Fine garments.
Fine garments. Garlands, fragrant oils. Let's see, what else? Ornaments. And they were surrounded by soldiers on all sides carrying swords and shields. And then here's the purport. According to Sridhar Swami, the word Baji indicates that some of Lord Krishna's queens were transported by horse-drawn conveyances. Sounds like a European royal procession as well. On all sides proceeded finely adorned women attendants of the royal household, as well as courtesans. They rode on palanquins, camels, bulls, buffalo, donkeys, mules, bullock carts, and elephants. Their conveyances were fully loaded with grass tents, blankets, clothes, and other items for the trip. Anything there can remember?
Bulls and camels.
Bulls and camels. And who's riding these bulls and camels? These are the lady attendants and the courtesans of the royal household. And there's palanquins, camels, bulls, buffalo, donkeys, mules, bullock carts, and elephants. And then here's the purport. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that the household attendants mentioned here include washerwomen and other helpers. Okay, here's some more. The Lord's army boasted of royal umbrellas, chamara fans, huge flagpoles of waving banners. During the day, the sun's rays reflected brightly from the soldiers' fine weapons, jewelry, helmets, and armor. So can you imagine this? This is a massive retinue. Massive, millions that are traveling. And it's glittering in the sun. What's glittering? The swords, shields, what we read here? Helmets, armor, jewelry, and weapons. So all kinds of, you got the stick with a sword on top, you got all different kinds of weapons, even the jewelry, all of that is like glittering. If you're looking at from a distance, and it's like a glittering ocean. The sun is reflecting like all these little waves. So then like you're seeing this assembly. Lord Krishna's army, noisy with shouts and clatter, appeared like an ocean, stirring with agitated waves and timingila fish. Who knows what a timingila fish is? Any takers?
It eats whales.
It's a whale eater, something that's really large. If you're into conspiracy theories, there are recordings of they have recordings because they have some like a science underwater science study bases, and they record sounds of the ocean, and by the quality of the sound they can tell how, like, they'll have them in different places throughout the world, and if the same sound is heard at various distances, they can tell how loud was the sound, and how large was the thing that created the sound. And so there is some speculation amongst the science community that there is something, because they felt it was like a sound of a natural creature, but they've heard a sound, and according to their analysis, it was something much bigger than a whale that made the sound. Like 10 times bigger than a whale, and they've documented this. Okay. Text number 18. Honored by Sri Krishna, the chief of the Yadus, Narada Muni bowed down to the Lord. All of Narada's senses were satisfied with meeting Lord Krishna. Having heard the decision of the Lord and having worshipped him, Narada placed him firmly within his heart and departed through the sky. Text 19. I think I'll read the Sanskrit for this one. Rajadutam ubachedam Bhagavan priyan Gītā ma bhaista duta bhadram vo gatayashami Bhagavatam. With pleasing words, the Lord addressed the messengers of the kings. My dear messengers, I wish you all good fortune to you. I shall arrange the killing of the king of Magadha. Do not fear. The statement, ma bhaista, do not fear, is in the plural form, being intended for both the messenger and the kings. Similarly, the expression, Bhadram Va, blessings unto you, good luck to you, is also in the plural, expressing a similar intent. Actually, when what happened when our Brahma, he did his prayers and finally he saw the Lord face to face. What did they do? He's saying, but he's muted.
They shook hands.
Shook hands, right? And he said, good luck to you, Padram Te. And finally, text number 20. Thus addressed, the messenger departed and accurately relayed the Lord's message to the kings. Eager for freedom, they then waited expectantly for their meeting with Lord Krishna. So they're becoming deeply in meditation on Lord Krishna, these kings who are eager for to be free from their terrible situation. The great Vaishnava scholar Jila Jiva Goswami comments here that by the force of circumstances, the kings began to focus their attention on Lord Krishna alone. Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Shtapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadambayam Tadati Swapadantikam Katanchana Smite Yasmin Dushkaram Shukaram Bhavet Vishmite Viparitam Shat Shri Chaitanya Namamitam. So here we have a very beautiful descriptive pastime. Krishna and his retinue, they're performing as Krishna does. With one deed, he fulfills he satisfies so many. And so he's going to satisfy and assist Yudhishthir, but he's also going to save all of these kings. And so in the last verse, we hear this, what is it? Not last verse, but the verse of 19, my bhaishata, do not fear. One second, I'm looking up something. Okay, here we are. Because it comes. So in the Bhagavad Gītā, what is the first instruction? First thing that Krishna says in Bhagavad Gītā? First instruction of Krishna, taking the role of spiritual master.
You're not the body.
No,
Even before that.
your lament before is not worthy of grief.
Yes. So this is actually, if you look at the Vedic alphabet, the first letter is A, A, I, U. And what is the last letter? Ha. First letter is A, Ha. So in the Bhagavad Gītā, there's actually what is called an aha moment. So the first instruction of Krishna is ashochan. Do not worry. Do not fear. Do not lament. And what is the last instruction of the Bhagavad Gītā?
Masuchaha.
Masuchaha. So the first letter of the Sanskrit alphabet is A, and the last letter is Ha. And the first letter of Krishna's instructions is A, and the word is don't lament, don't worry, don't fear. And the last letter of Krishna's instruction is Ha, which is don't lament, don't worry, do not fear. And so this is the A to Z of the Bhagavad Gītā. Krishna is telling Arjuna not to worry, to fully. The first part of the worry is he's telling Arjuna that if he has knowledge, then he's not going to be lamenting for a body that has the life airs within it, or a body that doesn't have a life airs within it, because he understands that all beings are eternal. And the last part of the Bhagavad Gita, it's much deeper. He's telling Arjuna not to lament, because such a person, when they will fully surrender unto the Lord, they're always protected. And so this full surrender is described in 6 stages. Anukulasya sankalpa, patikulasya varjanam, rakshasati risvaso, guptritve varnam tata. That there's, the person he's accepting things that are favorable to devotional service, rejecting things that are unfavorable. He's seeing as Krishna as one's protector, seeing Krishna as one maintainer. He is practicing humility. And there's one other part to it I'm missing. Rakshati Vishvaso. What is this? There's 6 items of surrender. And fully taking Krishna's direction. Atmini Nishepa Sankalpa. That you're completely under Krishna's direction. So under that direction, one is in no need to fear. There was once a Brahmana, and he read this famous verse from the Bhagavad Gita. This verse, chapter 9, text number 22, where it says, what is the Sanskrit? It is Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana parupashyate tesha nityabhyuktanam yogakshamam vahamyaham. And so Krishna uses this personal verb that means that the individual is performing this action. Vahami means I will bring to you. I will carry it to you. I will do it. So this Brahmana, he felt this seems to be some kind of mistranslation. Somehow the wrong word has been inserted into the Bhagavad Gita. Because certainly the Lord is all-powerful, wonderful. But is it the Lord that personally comes to you and brings you things? Or is it done through his various energies? Does the Lord come to your door and bring everything? Certainly not. How many of you received a stimulus check? If they say, hey, the president's going to come to your door and sign this check for you, everyone, he's going to come in, he's going to sign the check, give you a nice handshake, Bajram Te, good luck to you. You're like, nah, I don't believe that. Come on. He's going to do it through his various energies. It's not going to directly come to your door. And so he took his little, as they would write on palm leaves, they would scratch it into the leaf. And they, you pour a little bit of ink in, and you scratch it into the leaf like that. And so he scratched the word out. And then he did what Brahmanas do during the day. They would go out and beg. Patan Patan Yajan Yajan Dana Pritigraha, these 6 duties of a Brahmana. They would teach, they would learn the Vedas, teach the Vedas. They would give charity and accept charity. And they would engage in worship and engage others in worship. And so this Brahmana, he went out and he was begging. And as he was out, his name is Arjuna the Brahmana. As he was out, these 2 beautiful boys appeared at his door. One was blackish, one was whitish. And they had a stick on their back. And on each side of the stick, there was a big bag of different types of vegetables, ghee, milk. There was, grains, all kinds of different kinds of beans. And they were loaded up with these heavy, heavy, heavy things on their back, both of them. And the mother was like, the wife, she was like, oh, you must have met my husband. Thank you so much. Thank you for bringing all this. Please stay here. I will cook for you. We'll have a nice feast. And they say, no, we don't want to see your husband. He's a terrible man. He beat us. He even scratched our tongue. What kind of person does that? We don't want to see him. And so when he came home, his wife had the rolling pin in her hand. She was so upset. So he comes in the door and she said, how can you beat those kids? And the man was shocked. He didn't know what she was talking about. He said, don't lie to me. How could you beat those kids? They were so beautiful, had such a sweet, kind appearance. One was blackish, one was whitish. I can't even stop thinking about how gorgeous they are. And you hit them? And when she said one was blackish, one was whitish, she realized, oh my God, this is Krishna and Balaram, showing directly that I personally come to care for my devotees. So Ma Bhaishata, that is Krishna saying here in this verse, do not fear, do not worry. He's giving this message to the kings. Do not fear, do not worry. And I will be there to take care of you. Here, there's actually, just from the alphabet, the Sanskrit alphabet, there's some different lessons that we can learn. Like, for example, vowels are representing Krishna. Why are vowels representing Krishna? Any guess? Why are consonants representing the devotees of Krishna? Anyone have a guess? Why are consonants the devotees?
You always need a vowel to make a word.
The vowel stands on its own, but you can't say a Sanskrit consonant. You can't say a ka, ga without the vowel. They're dependent. The consonants are dependent on the vowels, but the vowels can stand alone. They don't need a consonant. So there's a sense of independence and dependence. Thank you. And then you have, there's also a hidden acronym in the Sanskrit language. Some of you might have heard this acronym. So you have the first line of consonants is ka, ka, ga, ga, nya, cha, cha, ja, ja, nya. Then there is the fifth line, the pa, varga. Varga means line, like Guru Varga. The fifth line of the Sanskrit alphabet is pa, pa, ba, ba, ma. And actually those 5 letters are an acronym of the trouble of this material world. Pa stands for parishrama, just intense, hard work. That's what you have to do in this world. You just have to work. So much so that it's pa, pena, where you even have to sometimes work so hard. A person will have foam at their mouth, like sometimes you see an animal working and his mouth has foam there. And then the next one is ba. Ba stands for banda, vyavyastitihi, bondage. There's bondage in this world. And then what follows also is bhaya, fear. Here we're told, do not fear. And the last one, what is the last reward after all of these 4 things? Is mrityu, death. So liberation is called apavarga, and material existence is called pavarga. I remember reading Prabhupada's books for years and hearing seeing this word pavarga and not understanding how those letters, because I was thinking it's coming from the word pavarga. No, but it's actually pavarga means the line starting with the pa line of the alphabet. It's those 5 letters of the alphabet, which are an acronym for the sufferings of this world. So do not fear. So that leads us to chapter 16 of the Bhagavad Gītā. There's different divine qualities that are listed there. And the first one is fearlessness. And Prabhupada specifically said this is the quality that is manifest in sannyas. That the sannyasi is meant to be completely fearless, ready to go anywhere for the sake of serving the Lord without any type of security, without any type of protection, because he understands that the Lord is his protector. So that is the renunciation of the sannyasi. So this is manifest. So I have some notes here about bhakti and sannyas. And so who should take sannyas? Here's some notes here. And we can see some things here. 1 second. So this is from a recent issue of the Sri Krishna Katamrita Bindu put out by Madhavananda Prabhu. And he has a lot of information from. So what are the qualifications for taking sannyas? Should you take sannyas if you have a hard time at home and you're just frustrated? It's someone's you're always arguing at home and there's trouble. Is that a qualification for taking sannyas?
No.
Frustration of material. So yeah, that's not the sannyas that we take in our the Mayavadis that's called jnana sannyas, karma sannyas. They may go that way, but that's not actually. The sannyas means shunya, zero. This is Prabhupada writing or speaking in a lecture. All material desires made into zero. If a person still thinks, "Oh, that's a nice car. Well, that's a beautiful woman," or "I would like to travel," then he should not be thinking of taking sannyas. This is a conversation that he had in morning walk conversation. No more desire for material enjoyment. Here's some more notes here. Now, Srila Prabhupada, he was in an emergency situation. He was trying to spread the Krishna consciousness movement throughout the world in a very short time. And so this is a remembrance of Srila Prabhupada by Drishtaduma. So he recalls a conversation he had with Prabhupada in 1976. He said, Prabhupada said, "Actually, I have not given any of you sannyas, but I'm in a war with Maya, material energy, and I need leaders." He said it's called, in wartime, battlefield commission. There are no qualified leaders, but someone has to take the lead. So you take every fifth man and say, "You're a lieutenant of the squad." He's really a private, but we make him a lieutenant for the day. And he leads the charge. Then Prabhupada said, it's to be understood that you're not sufficiently equipped for this fight, and most of you will go down. I know what he means now that I'm older. We knew very little then, but we were enthusiastic. And then there's a nice quote from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. And he calls the Tridanda sannyasis. He says, the sannyas is actually only for the sake of serving Krishna, in the sense of carrying out his mission. And so here's a quote from there's a section from the whole thing. We are not operators of the instruments. We are only the instruments. We must always bear this in mind. Triple bhikshus, Tridandi sannyasis, are, quote, the living mridangas of Lord Chaitanya. What are the sannyasis? The living mridangas of Sri Chaitanya. We must constantly give forth our music at the lotus feet of Sri Guru. We should practice the function of the peripatetic preacher. I had to look that one up. The parivrajikacharya, which means to travel, and of carrying aloft the victorious banner of the commands of the divine Sri Gaurasundar by constant submission to Guru and the Vaishnavas, fixing our eyes on the pole star of the heard transcendental voice. We must always bear in mind that we've been initiated in the vow of a peripatetic traveling preacher for the sole purpose of promulgating the heart's desire of Sri Guru and Gauranga. So what is this sannyasi again? The living mridangas of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And sannyas is not sannyas is not for someone is frustrated with their household life. It's for someone who is, as Prabhupada said, free from sex desire. Lord Chaitanya, he took sannyas because there were those who were not honoring and they weren't giving him. He wasn't in a situation that he was able to teach people in a very extensive way. It's kind of like the modern day PhD. If you get a PhD, then people start listening to you. Without the PhD, they're not, yeah, whatever. But if you have the PhD, then people, there's some air of authority there. They listen. So everybody in Lord Chaitanya's time, they offered respects to the sannyasi. So I see William has a question. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. It's not a question. It's just a reflection of what you were discussing today. Early in your, I just first of all want to thank you for this wonderful lecture. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for your kind words.
Earlier today, you mentioned how if we were paying attention, and I got offended, and I was like, why am I getting offended? You know, I mean, come on, he's probably saying something that's it's tricking you because you're affected because you're not paying attention. So I was like, okay, so how can I pay attention? And then I thought, you know what? It's not your fault, Prabhuji. It's just that sometimes there are some devotees who give lectures, and I'm able to pay attention. With you, I have difficulty, and I ask Krishna, please help me when he's giving class. Help me pay attention. So then I come to this verse in the scripture in the Bible that says, "For all have sinned and come short of the glory of God," Krishna, being justified freely by His grace through the redemption that is in Christ Jesus. It's like Lord Chaitanya, Krishna. So I just want to thank you for the wonderful class, and just want to say, you know, we're all imperfect, and I'm sorry if I wasn't paying attention.
Oh no. Krishna is having Arjuna sit right in front of him. They're speaking the Bhagavad, Krishna speaking Bhagavad Gītā to Arjuna. And Arjuna is sitting right in front of him. But why is Krishna repeatedly telling Arjuna to pay attention? 7th chapter.
Because his mind is wandering off?
Tension is, you could sit in Divya's kitchen, sit in the restaurant, and you can hear a conversation when you focus completely on that conversation. Otherwise, it's just sounds. So attention it's a very active thing, and then we have to digest it. It's like just like we eat food, we have to digest it. And so one way to it is actually a practice. Our kind of modern situation is that we're not used to holding things so much. It's just we have such short attention spans with our videos are just a few seconds long that we watch. So one example is we can open the book that we're reading, read a page, and then close the book and then ask ourselves, okay, what did I just read? It's most common that when someone's sitting in the Bhagavatam class, their attention, when the verses are being read, I remember in Houston, Prahladananda Swami was giving class, and this was in, I think, 2006. And he was giving class, and then he asked, what verses did I read? And then all of us were looking at, nobody had any idea of what was the verses that he just read. And we're realizing, okay, we're not paying attention. Sometimes there's a little more attention after the verses are being read, but it's important that it's a very, very and I felt like my brain at that point, when those questions, because he would do that every class, he would ask the temple president, he would ask the vice president, and ask everybody, okay, what was read? And I felt like my brain was like one of these old cars where you like have the crank start them, and it was like, okay, now it's starting to work. And he said, wherever everyone has different capabilities of memory, but it's actually it's an exercise, and like any exercise, it's going to be a bit painful, especially in the beginning.
Thank you.
We have Bhima, we have Bhakti Center. Who wants to go first? I think Jambavan, he's ready.
Oh, let Jambavan go.
Come on, Jamba.
Thank you so much for this lovely class. Can you hear me?
Now I can hear you.
It's not a question. It's just a comment. When you said the sannyasis are the living instruments of
Living Murdangas of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
living Madangas of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I just wanted to comment that it's very interesting how universal this culture is, because in a lot of southern spiritual cultures, like the leaders are called sangomas. It's close to like sannyasi, but it's like they're called sangoma, and ngoma means song. But the reality is that the elder of that community, or the sangoma, who basically aligns everyone back into their spiritual song to the world, is that their heartbeats are the rhythm to what the song that the universe plays. And every time they're off tune, the sangoma brings them back to get them back on the same tune that the universe is singing on, or is the Gītā, the song's God, basically. So it's very interesting to what you say in that verse about sannyasis, because they play the same role as leaders in spiritual communities. So,
Thank you. Very beautiful. And we have Bhima Prabhu also. Thank you, Jamba.
Haribo. Is everything clear? Is my voice clear? I'm once
Yes,
again in the
we can hear
field. Okay. I'd just like to say, in reference to not only what Jambavan said, and try to tie these things together, and what William said, and of course what you're speaking about, which I love, because you do go down little dirt roads to show us why something is, where can we access the meaning, even in the syllables. And so we're constantly reminded, as we need to be in this world, because this world will remind us of itself. Lust, attraction to the things of this world, desire. This world will always, like for a man, a dancing woman, for a woman, a tall, handsome man. We're here to be deluded in this forest of illusion. And the way in which one can come to pay attention to class is, I remember when I was young, I read the Bhagavad Gītā in college. I knew it to be the truth. I was studying philosophy, and I knew there was no like shoulder fake. I could do a roll around the philosophy, reject it. And so I ceased to pay attention to it. I ceased to allow myself to truly listen, because I didn't want to hear what Prabhupada was saying in the purport, which was at that time, follow the four regulative principles, surrender, you're an illusion, this isn't your body, you're not your body. Meanwhile, I was engaged, I was a nutrition major, I was a fighter, the body was everything. And then, of course, being a young college male, the body is everything. So I remember trying to read the Gītā, or even listen to some lectures, and I found it virtually impossible, even though I was educated. And that is because I didn't want to hear it. Even though I knew it to be the right place, the right time, I knew that Radhanath Maharaj was the right person to be hanging with. I knew that the movement itself was very pleasing and had so much to offer. I really didn't want to hear what was to be expected from me. So these things went right over the top of my head. So fast forward many, many, many years. And of course, what were those syllables, Prabhu, in a row? How about the misery of the material world and the frothing at the mouth?
Pavarga.
Pa,
Pa ba ba ma. Pavarga.
and so you get to this age whereby you're looking and you're like, oh my, it's all true. It's all true. You know, this is everything's being taken away. I'm frothing at the mouth, still working like a jackass. But in the meantime, things are falling away, whether I like it or not. And no matter how hard I work, I can't hold on to them, no matter how dear they are to you. So,
Cut out. Cut out. All right.
am I here? Am I here?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I cut out for a second. And I'll make this quick because I'm running out of battery. When I got on this class today, I said, Krishna, whatever it is he's saying, please speak to me somewhere through this. Please have him say something. And if you're ready to hear something, and I got on a little bit late because of what I do here. Sometimes I'm not in connection. And I got on a little bit late. I just got on just as you were saying, Krishna was saying, have no fear. Don't lament. Let go. Stop desiring to think that this material world is going to make you happy. I have all the reasons to be happy, and that's the trouble. Materially speaking, I have all the material reasons to be happy, and that is the biggest reason. That is the biggest barrier to actually understanding what Krishna is trying to tell us about this world that we're in. And so when I listen to a class when we listen to a class,
Dima Prabhu, can you stick around for the afterglow?
Yes,
Darshan
Haribol.
time. Thank you.
Haribol.
Radha Muralidhar Ki. Radha Muralidhar Govinda Sanghavani Ki Jai. Hare Purusham
Jai Hare Krishna. Welcome to the Afterglow. Nityananda Chandra Prabhu, you have a few minutes? Good. Bhima Prabhu, are you finished with your contribution?
If you want me to be, I'd be finished.
Okay, Bhima Prabhu is finished. Let's welcome Krishna Gauda to class. Krishna Gauda, good to see you. Thank you for coming. Nityananda Chandra Prabhu, a question. So this apavarga, what's the translation again? Is it you're working so hard to gain material gains that you're foaming from the mouth? Is that the translation of apavarga?
So yeah, no, apavarga means the opposite. Apavarga means to be liberated from that. Dharmasya apavargasya Dharmasya apavargasya nartarto kapalkute. Dharmasya kama I can't remember. It's first canto, second chapter. There's a verse with this, but you find this word apavarga a lot. So just like we use acronyms, the Vedas also use acronyms. It's very interesting. And so and I was a bit confused. I don't know if anybody came across this, and you read this word pavarga, and then you're like, and it says pa pa ba ba ma, and you're like, wait a minute, I don't see the letter ma in there. I don't see the letter, but it's just the pa line of the alphabet, because the way the Sanskrit alphabet is organized is that there are 5 lines of consonants, and they're all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then there are 5 lines of like main consonants, and they're organized by where they sound in the throat. So when the British came to study, they were amazed. All modern linguistics took leaps and bounds from their connection to Sanskrit, because they'd never seen a language studied with such specificity and like so the first line comes from the throat, ka ka ga ga nya, and the second line comes from the teeth, the back of the cha cha da da, no, cha 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 ja ja nya. Then the second is it's called retroflex, when the tongue kind of whips towards the teeth. Ta, ta, da, da, na. And then it gets a little closer to the front of the teeth. Ta, ta, da, da, na. And then the last line is the labials. It's done with the lips. Pa, pa, ba, ba, ma.
Chinmayrada is already lost, she says.
So this is the 5th line of the Sanskrit alphabet, is that 5th line. And so that 5th line is those 5 letters: pa, 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 ba, ba, ma. And they're all organized. If you look at, even they're organized not like a cross in a certain way, but they're organized down in a certain way in the sense that the first letter of each line is they're not really voiced or aspirated. There's no ha. The second line has like a aspiration, ha, pa. And then the third line is voiced. There's some we'll cover this some other time, but yeah. So that, yeah, it's those are pa is for hard work. Like you heard this verse, Shrama eva hi kevalam. The material, if you're just engaging in spiritual life, but it's with devoid of bhakti, you're just working hard for nothing. If you're parishrama is the word, parishrama, which means hard work. Then pena, which is ph, means foam of the mouth. Then banda means bondage, bhaya means fear, and mrityu means death. Those 5 letters referred acronyms for those 5 words. The nice rewards of this material world.
Yeah, that's the promise of this material world. Foam in the mouth. Yeah.
And if you get anything, then you get bound by it, and you fear that you're going to lose it, and then
Yeah.
die.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Happy Tuesday, everybody. This is your morning motivation from Nitai Chand, our Sanskrit scholar. Hey, so much depth. Jeffrey Eckler is appreciating the depth of Sanskrit. Okay, any questions, dear devotees? Please don't be intimidated by the depth of Nityananda Chandra Prabhu's expertise. He's a devotee. He's humble and approachable.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I just wanted to appreciate Nityananda. Thank you very much. It does take a lot of thought to go into this type of detail and a lot of research, and clearly I haven't done it, so I appreciate you doing it and sharing it with me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Isaiah, are you ready? Are you ready to finish it off? Go for it, Isaiah.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Nityananda Chandra Prabhu, wonderful class. Thank you very much. We see you prepare for class. You care. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks to everyone on this call and on YouTube. We love you. We need you. Have a wonderful day. Don't fall for the promise of this world. It's just foam. It'll enslave you. Go for the promise of the Bhagavatam, which is what? Nityananda Chandra Prabhu, what's the promise of the Bhagavatam? Is there an acronym for that? Apavarga, right?
Apavarga is, ultimate liberation.
Yeah, don't go for Papavarga, go for Apavarga, and don't confuse the two. Okay, Hare Krishna. It will remove all that is troublesome to the heart. Yeah, what's the verse, Jeffrey Eckler? Do you know the Sanskrit?
I'm supposed to know those. I forget.
Nasta Presh Abhadreshu
Yeah.
Devaya Bhagavati Uttamashloki Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Is that it?
Nice. Yes, Jeffrey Eckler. Thank you. By
Thank you.
regular attendance in class on Srimad Bhagavatam, or by rendering service to the personality of Bhagavatam, everything that is troublesome to the heart will become almost completely destroyed. And what's the irrevocable truth part, Nitai Chand? And devotional service of Krishna,
Who established as an irrevocable fact.
Yeah, who's sung in transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Okay, Hare Krishna.